everyone, welcome back to the Homestead Kitchen. I'm in here today with a half a bushel of peaches. I'm so excited. Now, if you know, we have planted so many fruit trees, as many as we can pretty much fit around here, but we've never actually been able to grow peaches. Now, peaches do grow here in Minnesota, and we do have some contender peach trees. I had to remember the variety. 2 contender peach trees that we planted in 2021, and they had fruit on them when we bought them, but you know, Matt cut all that off and helped them grow, and they're doing really well, but no peaches this year, it's looking like. So my dear sister-in-law talked me into getting some fruit from a fruit truck. Now, that is something I have never done before. I have bought some fruit locally and things like that, but it can be kind of expensive around here. So I was really excited when I saw this fruit truck was coming to town, and there's quite a few around the country that go all over, but I believe this one is myfruittruck.com, or if you type in my fruit truck to Google, you should be able to find it and see when they're in your area. But they were bringing peaches. So I was able to get half a bushel of peaches. Now, these are from Georgia, and they came up here within a couple days. So these, we ate some last night. We couldn't wait. We ate some fresh last night, and they are the best peaches I've ever had. And I don't know if that's saying much, because I think our peaches are never quite ripe when we get them here in the store. So I was really excited to try those. And I'm even more excited because I was able to pull out my ball canning book. Now, if you don't have this canning book, you can find this recipe on the National Center for Home Food Preservation. It's just peaches and syrup that I'm going to be making today. After one of our kids requested, he said, "Hey Mom, I like those pears you made a couple years ago, those canned pears, but could you make the orange ones they have at school?" And I realized that I don't buy canned peaches, and apparently I need to make some. So I'm going to make canned peaches, or as that kiddo says, orange pears. So since peaches aren't something I've ever canned before, I am guessing this is gonna get a lot messier than I'm planning on. What I did is I filled up 1 bowl with some lemon juice and water. I didn't measure, but you wanna make sure you have a good amount of lemon juice, and this is just so that my fruit doesn't brown. You can use other things like citric acid. When we are canning potatoes, we don't do anything like that, and we just use cold water, and I honestly think that would probably work too for this, but I have lemon juice, so I'm going to do that. I also filled another smaller bowl with some lemon juice and cold water, and that's where I'm going to be putting my peels, because I think I'm going to do something with them. I'm not going to hold my breath because I want to get these peaches taken care of first. Some are in better condition than others. Some of them do have some small bruising and things on them. And I noticed as I was cutting one this morning, because we had one for breakfast too, that one was already getting a little hard to cut. So I was watching my sister-in-law do this because she was awesome and got her peaches first, and I was able to kind of watch how she was doing it to kind of give me some tips and tricks. So she was cutting them in half and then quartering them, and I noticed just cutting a few fresh that sometimes I could get it apart easy doing it in half, and sometimes I had to almost cut the full quarter. So my hope is that I can kind of have these quarter size slices in our jars that we're going to be canning, and I am going to be water bath canning in pints. Now, I really wanted to can my peaches in quarts so that I have enough in each jar, but the thing is, I'm going to be using my electric canner. This one's a little hard to get off. I'm going to be using my electric canner, and I can't water bath quarts in it. It's just not tall enough, which is probably for the best because I'm not too tall either, and you probably see me in a few videos use a stool just to get stuff in there the way it is. So she was using a potato peeler to peel hers yesterday, and I'm thinking that mine are going to be, some of them are already getting too ripe. These are probably the worst ones right here. And I already did quick wash these before we started the video, so I'm not worried about that. But some of these are getting quite soft. Now, originally I was hoping to hot pack these, which means I would heat them a little bit and pack them hot, which means they don't need to be water bath quite as long. but it also means that I'm going to be heating up my kitchen. It's almost 100 degrees outside today. So one of the beauties of having that electric canner is it does not heat up my kitchen nearly as much as, oops, it doesn't heat up my kitchen nearly as much as if I was doing it on the stovetop. Now I'm going to get a couple of these peeled, and then I'm going to get my canner heated up so it's ready to go. Should I have done that first? Yes, totally. Am I excited to peel peaches? Absolutely. Will I eat some of these? Yep, probably. Now when I was looking up places to buy fruit, I had looked at a few of, you know, the favorites, the go-to places, Azure Standard and stuff like that. But they didn't seem to have a lot in our area of things like this. I did see they have, I think it was Bing cherries right now, but the price was pretty high. Now these are not organic peaches, but I did a lot of research, and all of the fruit truck companies I compared, they did look like some of the best option as far as farming techniques. It looked like mostly organic techniques, but maybe just not an organic certification type thing. So I think it's really important I learn how to can peaches before all of a sudden my peaches, or my peach trees, have a whole bunch of peaches on them. And that's something I'm trying to get better about doing. When I want to do everything myself, I want to be able to grow it, and then I get defeated when I don't, you know, have a huge apple harvest or something. But I'm thinking the more and more I learn now, before I have a whole bunch of fruit coming off trees, the better it will be later. So I'm glad I did like a little test run with a few of these, because I realized I'm going to need a bowl for my scraps, my pits, and just bad peels that I don't want to use for anything. And I need a towel because my hands are constantly getting dirty, and I guess that's maybe what my apron is for, but it is going to be filthy by the time I'm done. So I just turned the camera off so I could find the cord to my canner. I spent like 20 minutes trying to find this. It was shoved about this tiny under a boot in our mudroom. Our mudroom is one of those catch-all places, and that's where my canner lives, up high on a shelf, except for this time of year when I start really using it. And then actually I think I got my canner at the end of harvest season last year, so this is going to be a really fun harvest season. I just realized you can probably see the peaches now. See them all laying over there? My house is kind of a disaster, but the peaches are over there. I had to set up a whole table. One of the kids helped me get it all set up and all the peaches laid out. Washed them this morning, and now they're all ready. Now that I found this, let's get the canner going. So I like to, when I'm using my canner, use filtered water, and I like to fill the pot outside the machine so I don't accidentally spill water into it. I'm going to fill it up to 3 quarts, which is this bottom line. Sometimes I'll use like a pitcher with measuring on it so I can just measure it, but really they have that there so I don't need to. I've got a lot going on in this corner of my kitchen right now. All our sauerkraut is fermenting. I just went through and tasted that last night, and I think it's getting close already, which is way sooner than I expected it to be ready, but I left it kind of in this darker corner of my kitchen. That's probably why. Can you see me? It's very dark in this corner. I've also got my sourdough starter back here, but none of these things I'm worried about getting a little bit of heat. I'm not going to put it too close to the sauerkraut though. This way I've got my whole counter to work at. Insert jars. Did that already. Now I got to put the lid on. Made sure the regulator's off. Just like an Instant Pot, but this one comes off all the way. Lock it. We're ready. Alright, even though I told you I was going to do raw pack, cold pack, raw pack. Even though I told you I was going to raw pack these, I keep going back and forth if I want to raw pack them or hot pack them. Hot pack them takes less time, and then I would heat the peaches up on the stove a little bit, and I realized, wait, I have to make syrup anyway, so I'll be heating up the house. So I was like, maybe I should do that. And then I just decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to raw pack them. I know the jars would probably get a little bit more in them if I hot pack them, and if I get another batch of peaches this year, I probably will give that a try. But the main reason I decided that I'm going to raw pack them is because it said it works better with a lighter syrup amount, and the hot pack is a heavier syrup amount, which if there's more peaches in it, I don't know if that much matters, but that's what I'm going with. That's why I'm doing the raw pack. So let's get started. So the recipe I'm using for the light syrup is from the Ball Canning book, but again, you can find this on the National Center for Home Food Preservation website, and I'm just doing light syrup. It's going to be 2 1/4 cups of sugar and 5 1/4 cups of water, and we're just going to cook it to a boil, kind of cook the sugar a little bit so it's mixed in, if that makes sense. Now I could probably be doing more than one batch at a time, but this should be enough to get my first batch of peaches going, so I'm just going to do it this way, and then if I need more, I will make more. I will need more. I'll make more as I'm going along. So if you never have canned with someone else, I highly encourage you to do it, because not long ago I had my sister-in-law over and we were canning together in my kitchen, and even though I've canned in here many, many times, it's funny how everyone does things just slightly different, and you can learn new tips and tricks from one another. So I've got my setup here, maybe not in the most convenient way in my brain, but I know this is gonna work out. So I almost completely forgot, when I'm water bathing, I need water. I need to fill my canner with water once I get these going. So I filled up a pot with some filtered water. It is heating now, not quite boiling, but it's getting hot. So I'm gonna start filling my jars. So I'm trying to decide what tongs I'm gonna use for these peaches. Some of them are just outside the water, so I really want to get going on them. But I got about a little over 8 pounds here of peaches, so I'm going to see how many jars this fills. I've got 7 ready. I might have to peel a few quick to fill them all the way. My pressure canner is heated up, and now I can open it. It says to fill the jars. So I'm going to say this in every video I use this. Presto, you need a hook here, so I can set this down like I do my Instapot lid. I never have anywhere to set this. Alright, so I'm going to pull these out. Remember, this water is super, super hot. So I'm just going to dump it in my sink, because actually, wait a second. Because I'm water bathing, there's no reason I can't put it back in here, is there? I'm just thinking this through for a second. Yeah. Okay, so I could either put it back in here or put it in some type of container before I do. I think I'm just going to dump it right back in for now. I don't know that I'll be able to fit too much, but pretty sure I used filtered water in there, so there's no reason to worry about that. So I'm going to take these peaches. And it says to put kind of where the pit was, side down. Well, this is going to work good. I'm using wide mouth jars, and my typical rule is for wide mouth jars is anything that's in chunks or basically not liquid, that's what I use wide mouth jars for. And then anything liquid I use regular mouth for. Now, there's always those times where you're like, well, my regular mouth are ready to go, so I'm going to use them, kind of thing. But that's just kind of the best. They do not want to go the way I'm putting them. Stay. Oh, I cut these in 4. Maybe I shouldn't have. All right. Can you kind of see how they are falling the opposite of where I'm putting them? All right, we're going to do our best. I think the reason probably for staggering how you're laying them is more than anything for so you don't end up with air bubbles everywhere. I got a little one in there. Okay, so it says we need a 1/2 inch of headspace, and my sister-in-law was showing me this really cool gadget. If you buy the actual Ball branded canning stuff, they have a measure on here, but I usually just use the lip here. This tends to be 1 inch, a 1/2 inch, and so on. All right, we're gonna stop right there. I think that's good. And then we're gonna get some syrup on this. All right, you know I'm gonna have a little mess because I am actually holding the camera. I'm just too lazy to get a big tripod. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer to the pot. If it's too hot. Got my stick ready for debubbling. I also just made a mark on it for 1 inch when I'm checking the canner level. Now this is going to be about a 1/2 inch headspace too. So I'm going to try to kind of debubble. Oops, I used the wrong side. Debubble without poking a bunch in here. So I'm going on the outside for that reason right now. The bubbles going out. My goal isn't to poke a bunch of holes in my peaches. My goal is to get any air pockets out. After doing this, you can see I need more Sara. Oh man, these really float. This is different. I don't remember having this issue when I did pears. Maybe I packed them in there quite a bit more. So this is my concern with raw packing, is that I'm going to get all this liquid on the bottom and they're not going to look as pretty. But we raw pack meat, and so we're used to kind of seeing that it doesn't look pretty, but it tastes good, right? And that's what's important. But these are floating, so I'm not really sure I'm going to get them to stay down. I'd love your advice. So if you have any tips of what you do to keep them from floating up like that, or maybe I need less in there, will you leave a comment down below? Alright, I've got vinegar on my rig. I'm wiping this off. Adding my top. One thing I didn't realize that apparently maybe makes me a little type A is I need my label to face the right way. Oh, I think they look pretty good. They're going in the canner. I'm definitely going to have that open space at the bottom. Now, if you did the hot pack, you're not going to have that nearly as bad for sure. Next time. I'm sure I'm being really picky with this, but we all know me. All right, I've got to keep this fan going or I'm gonna just way heat up the house. So I will show you when I get this canner all filled up. All right, I've got 7 wide mouths in here. It's like just dumping the jars in, put them a 1/4 inch above the jars, the water level, and I want it about 1 inch above. So the only thing I can think of that would mean that that isn't a great idea is that it's not full-blown boiling in here, but I think we're pretty good. So I've got some water on the stove, so I'll dump some more in here quick. I've got my inch level. I'm just gently putting it on one of the jars so I can kind of see where it's at. Put this on. Still no regulator yet. Lock it. Fill jars. Done. Now that I've got that going, I did end up with way more peaches. I would say that's closer to like 4, maybe 5 pounds in there. So I think I'm definitely going to have quite a bit of empty jar space where there aren't any peaches. But it is what it is. And I ran out of sugar syrup, so I had to make more. So I made a few batches. Evan was in here measuring sugar for me. So got that going. And I think I'm just going to keep on going, getting the rest of the peaches peeled and things. There they are. But I also need to get supper going. So I am going to close out this video, and at the end I'll show you how everything is looking. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and glad you got to see me again. Bye.